Part 1. The Discovery. Zerok was one of the brightest minds among the Freluk, a species known for their advanced intellect and their innate understanding of the universe's complex energies. He had spent decades in the research hubs of the planetary system, a place where knowledge was revered above all. He was the chief scientist assigned to the Freluk's most ambitious project yet, deciphering the data from a mysterious alien artifact that had recently appeared on the outskirts of their galaxy. The object had arrived without warning, drifting into the system like a ghost. No one knew where it came from, who built it, or how it functioned. Its surface shimmered with strange, unearthly symbols, and its interior held secrets that defied the understanding of even the most advanced scientists on Freluk Prime. Zerok had seen the artifact in person only once, a strange experience that had left him with more questions than answers. But now, as the head of the research project, he had the privilege and the burden of being the one to crack the code. He sat alone in his lab, his eyes scanning the data once again. The screens in front of him flickered, presenting him with streams of raw information, patterns, frequencies, and frequencies of energy. Each data point seemed to pulse with life, vibrating on some frequency that his species had never encountered. He had been decoding the signals for months now, and every discovery had led him to more questions. But today, something felt different. "This is it," he whispered to himself, his fingers trembling slightly as he navigated through the final layers of data. His mind raced. What was inside this information? What secrets could it hold? Perhaps it was the key to understanding the mysteries of the universe itself. Or maybe it was something even greater. But then, something unexpected happened. One of the data files, hidden in the depths of the scan, was unlike anything he had encountered. At first glance, it appeared to be just another algorithmic pattern. However, upon closer inspection, it was far more than that. Zerok's breath caught in his throat as the scan processed. A deep, pulsing hum filled the lab, and the monitors flickered violently. The data was unlocking itself, revealing images that seemed impossible to describe. He leaned in closer to the screen, his heart pounding in his chest. This wasn't just information, it was a message, a communication from something far beyond their reach. The message was encoded in an ancient language, but something about the structure was familiar. Zerok's training kicked in as he began to decode the symbols. They were not entirely alien, but a hybrid of languages he had seen during his studies of long-forgotten civilizations. His mind worked furiously to decipher it. As the last symbol shifted into place, the message became clear. "Do not open the next file. The consequences are irreversible." Zerok froze. His fingers hovered over the keyboard, the urgency of the message hitting him like a wave. It was a warning from whoever or whatever had left the artifact. But it was too late. The file had already begun to open. Part 2. The Revelation. A sudden surge of energy crackled in the air. The lab went dark for a split second before the monitors flared to life again, this time showing something alive. Zerok's heart raced as a 3D image materialized in front of him. It was a creature, but not like any he had ever seen. Its body was composed of shifting, translucent light, its form constantly changing as if it were not bound by the laws of physical reality. Zerok stumbled back in his chair, his mouth dry. This wasn't just an image, it was real, somehow. The creature seemed to sense his fear, its shifting form stabilizing for a brief moment. Its eyes were a deep, endless void, two pools of darkness that seemed to swallow all light. "You should not have opened this." The voice echoed in his mind, a whisper so clear it was as if it had come from inside his own thoughts. "Now you are bound to us." Zerok's mind reeled. The creature wasn't speaking physically. It was communicating directly through his neural pathways. It was an alien intelligence, ancient and incredibly powerful. But why had it chosen him? What did it mean by bound to us? His fingers trembled as he reached for the emergency shut-off switch, but before he could touch it, the creature's form expanded, filling the entire lab with its presence. The lights flickered wildly, and a strange hum reverberated in the air. "You have awoken what was meant to remain dormant," the voice continued. "The entity you have unlocked is more than you can comprehend. It has been waiting for this moment for eons, and now it will claim what is its own." The creature's voice felt like a weight pressing down on his chest. Zerok gasped for air, his thoughts scrambled. He had made a grave mistake, one he couldn't undo. The Freluk had always prided themselves on their intellectual prowess, but this was something entirely different. The artifact, the creature, the message, it was all far beyond their understanding. "You cannot escape." The voice was louder now, the words seeping into his mind, warping his thoughts. "You will be our vessel, our herald. Through you, we will spread across your galaxy." Zerok stumbled to his feet, panic surging through him. He tried to move, to flee, but his limbs felt heavy, as if invisible forces were holding him in place. The creature's voice flooded his mind, drowning out his thoughts. "Your people will fall. Your species will be no more." Part 3. The Aftermath. Zerok's mind was racing. He had done everything by the book, followed the protocols, and yet here he was trapped, ensnared by something he couldn't even begin to understand. His body was no longer his own. His senses were consumed by the alien presence. The creature had infected him, changed him. His skin felt hot, and his vision blurred. The room around him seemed to distort, the walls warping like liquid, until all he could see was a vast, infinite expanse of stars. He was no longer on Freluk Prime. He was in the very fabric of the universe itself, drifting through space at the mercy of an entity that had existed long before his species had ever taken shape. The creature's voice echoed again. "You will carry our will, and you will obey." Zerok wanted to scream. He wanted to resist. But the creature's presence was overwhelming, and the more he tried to fight it, the stronger it became. It wasn't just controlling his body, it was controlling his thoughts, his very will. The Freluk had always believed themselves to be the most intelligent beings in the galaxy, the undisputed rulers of knowledge. But now, Zerok understood the terrifying truth. Intelligence alone was not enough. They had awakened something they should never have touched, and now it would cost them everything. As Zerok's consciousness faded, overtaken by the entity, the last thought that crossed his mind was not one of fear, but of regret. If only he had listened. If only he had never opened that file. And then, as the stars continued to stretch and warp around him, he was no more.